Talking Wolves are once again delighted to have partnered up with Manscaped, and with the summer coming up and with Father's Day, our special offer is too good to miss.
Now, as some of you may know, I've just come back from my first summer holiday. Lovely little trip away in Spain, and I must say, the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 was an absolute godsend. This nifty bit of kit here has helped me shave hairs in places that I didn't even know had places, if you know what I mean. It's absolutely wonderful. It's not just the razor you get a whole load of goodies in the Performance Package 4.0, and it's absolutely perfect for summer. Lads, don't sleep on it. Go out and get one.
Yes, Matt, and with Father's Day coming up as well, it is a perfect gift for you guys, especially for all of those dads out there. I know I've got a dad bod, but I'm not a dad just yet anyway. Using the link in the description, you'll be able to grab the Performance Package 4.0, and it is a game changer. Inside the package, you will find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker, which is the ear and nose hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, the Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all of those goodies in. You can get 20% off and free shipping with the code TalkingWolves at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com using the code TalkingWolves. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Hello and welcome to the Talking Wolves Transfer News Podcast, a show that looks at all the latest Wolves news and rumours in finer detail. I'm delighted to say I'm joined with Dave. Dave, how are you, mate?
Very well, mate. Thank you. Looking forward to it. The first one of the summer. Hopefully it's a busy one and successful one for Wolves.
I really enjoyed doing these last summer, and I think the viewership enjoyed it as well. I used to get quite a lot of views and engagement, and rumours of what we all want to get our teeth stuck into, isn't it? We all live in hope a little bit, but there's going to be quite a few rumours on this one today. Some Wolves players, some not. So I think it's best if we start with Mr. Ruben Neves, Dave. Looks like he's finally going to leave the club. I know we've been saying it it seems like every June and July for the past 3 years that, he's gone. He's waved goodbye to the South Bank more times than I don't know what. But sports in Spain report that Neves will end up at Barca regardless, but it remains to be seen how the deal will be done. So that same publication, Dave, suggests that Jorge Mendes is still pushing a swap deal between Ansu Fati and Ruben Neves. What could possibly go wrong there?
I know. To be fair, the whole Ansu thing, Sport are the only ones pushing it. I think every other Spanish journalist or Barcelona journalist sort of keeping that story at arm's length, really. But it's pretty obvious that Ansu Fati doesn't want to come to Wolves. There was an article again yesterday saying that he didn't want to come to Wolves. And look, he's such a talented footballer. He's a very good footballer, but you look at his injury record and then you look at the fact that he doesn't want to come to Wolves. Like you've said, tapped too many times before and we've been stung by it. Catrone was one, Guedes was another one. I'm sure people could probably think of 2 or 3 others as well. And like Lopetegui's made pretty clear from January, he needs players, if he's going to stay here, he needs players that want to play for Wolves and want to be in Wolverhampton as well. So, the whole Ansu Fati thing probably needs to stop. Although I would, as a footballer, I'd love to see him at Molineux, but obviously everything else, there's a lot more negatives than positives for this deal.
I think if you could take the player from Barcelona and just drop him in the Wolves squad and his mentality wouldn't change or his morale, then it'd probably be a good deal. But like you said there, Dave, he doesn't want to be here. And plus, he's had a horrific injury record, hasn't he, in recent years? But Sport have also reported that Mendes has other options, such as Serginho Dest and Abdi, to join Wolves, but priority is to get the deal done with Ansu. Dave, are you happy with these kind of swap deals, or with Wolves needing cash, would you just want the cash deal?
It completely depends, really, on what Wolves. If Wolves value the players that are actually coming our way, like, Dest, he's obviously an okay player. He's played at a decent level. He's a right back, so would probably give Semedo decent competition, I suppose. But is he the profile of right back that Lopetegui wants? And Ezi Abdi as well, obviously a very talented winger. But when you've got 2 players, especially at a club like Barcelona, they're towards the top end of the spectrum, you could say. So, and this is no disrespect to Wolves, but every time a player leaves Barcelona, they're going downhill to join Wolves. And that's what I think we've seen with a number of players. You know, Trincao was one as well who didn't want to be here, which I missed out earlier. So it's difficult just to take two players and almost dump them at another team. So I'd rather us just get the money for Neves. I don't think we'll get the 40 million that has been quoted in the press, but anywhere sort of between 30 and 35, I'd be more than happy with. And then we can actually go out and sort out our own options then. But at the moment, this feels like this deal, until Barcelona sort out their FFP issues, which are still ongoing, or their registration issues, feels like this deal is almost holding our summer back. And it feels like that's happened over the last couple of years. We've almost had to wait to see what Ruben Neves' future is like before we can sort our own window out.
Another player that's always seems to be linked with Wolves in these deals is Nico Gonzalez, the central midfielder. Would someone like that be of interest for you if there was to be a swap deal?
Again, he's a good player. I think was he out on loan this
Valencia,
season?
wasn't he?
Valencia. Yeah, I haven't really kept tabs on how well he's done this year, if I'm completely honest. But again, he was another player linked last year, wasn't he? Well, yeah, I've just seen a new story there. He's close to sealing another loan, so I'm not too sure. He's joining Real Betis on loan, I think. But again, he's another talented player, and the fact that Barcelona haven't yet sold him probably shows that they want to keep him on their books.
Yeah, we need to get this one sorted soon, though, because we can't allow it to drag on and not get the money for Neves, because we need that money to be able to facilitate other deals. But moving on to the next rumour, Dave. So it's actually that the Sun Sport have reported that Wolves are amongst many Premier League clubs reported in Southampton's James Ward-Prowse. However, the Championship side valued a midfielder at £40 million. So I think it remains to be seen whether Southampton will command anywhere near that fee. Are you a fan of Ward-Prowse?
Yes and no. And I think, to be fair, I think the Telegraph also reported on it a day or so after. It's a weird one with Ward-Prowse because obviously his strengths are set pieces. Although this season, I think especially second half of the season, didn't seem to see as many sort of free kick goals and so on that we have seen previously. But I don't know about his overall game. He's not someone that would be towards the top of my list, especially not for that value anyway. I think Southampton can command sort of probably between 20 and 30 million for him, but they definitely struggled to get 40 million like suggested there. But something that we lacked is set pieces, to be honest. Good set piece taker. We had Barry Douglas in the Championship. Ruben Neves was able to pop the free kicks in now and then, but over the last 2 or 3 years, we've really struggled for that. So I wouldn't be against it for that side of things, but I'm still yet to be sort of convinced by the rest of his game, to be honest.
I don't think he's that bad out of possession, to be honest. I think his biggest attribute is like we said, is his set pieces. But in terms of like the total footballer, I don't think he's bad at all. But you're not gonna be paying anywhere near £40 million. I think what you say there, Dave, 25 million is probably a suitable fee, and you'd like to think that Southampton fans would give Ward-Prowse best wishes, really, because he's given a lot to that club. I can't see him coming to Wolves. I think he'd probably want to try and set his sights a little bit higher, maybe somewhere like a Newcastle or an Aston Villa. I know fans will be listening to this saying, "Well, we're on the same level as them," but looking at last season, yeah, exactly. He probably wants to go and play European football. Just out of interest, Dave, the Telegraph story. It wasn't John Percy, was it? Who's normally finger on the pulse with Wolves.
I'd have to find out who it was.
Yeah, sorry,
it was just almost there. No, it's all right. It wasn't Percy. I know that for sure because I think I would have tweeted it out again. But yeah, I know over the Percy, maybe Mike McGrath is decent, but Telegraph still some of their journalists. But Percy's obviously, as you know, top tier. So, but I'd have to have a look. I can't remember who it was.
Cool. Now, on last season's segment, Dave, last season's podcast, we had a segment dedicated to strikers over 6'5", if you remember.
Yeah.
There was Kalidasic who we ended up signing, Ajork. There was Paul Onuachu. Yeah, there was loads. Well, I feel like we might have a dedicated segment to strikers under 5'9" this season. Wolves have been linked with George Mikautadze from Metz, according to Le 10 Sports. So the 22-year-old has scored 23 goals this season, is valued at around 20 million euros. Now he's only a little dot, a diminutive figure, but he's comfortable with both feet. Georgian international, and he from the clips I've seen, he seems very strong with low centre of gravity. Means he's really difficult to knock off the ball. Almost reminds me a little bit of like kind of like a Hazard and Aguero kind of hybrid. I know that's a glowing reference, but Dave, I quite like the sound of this, and I think for that kind of fee, it could be a good bit of business for Wolves. It said that Burnley and Lyon are also interested. Burnley, I think, are a little bit further down the line with it, but I like what I see with Mikautadze.
Yeah, I sort of agree with those sort of references. I remember when I was watching a little bit of him, when you talk about number nines, you think pretty well built, a little bit of height to them, and he's almost like the opposite. He's very agile, like you said, low center of gravity, but the way that he moves the ball and drives the ball forward is interesting.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see what his almost overall hold up play and so on is like. But like I was trying to think in my head, would this be a good fit for Wolves? But I think it probably would in terms of that we've really struggled to break through the lines and get forward often enough. And I think he's somebody that would be able to do that. And probably he almost has like some of the qualities of a winger, really, but in front of goal seems to be really clinical as well. My only reservation would be obviously, he scored a lot of goals, but it's the second division of France. So that's sort of my only reservation. But you look at the other teams linked to him. I think AC Milan have been credited with interest as well. Obviously Lyon. So there are obviously decent sides looking at him there. So, but he's a really intriguing player, got a lot of quality. And if he doesn't move to Wolves, it would obviously still be interesting to see where his career goes.
We've seen a couple of players move to France, though, from Ligue 1 from other clubs, and now been credited with bigger moves elsewhere. I think the one that sticks out to me is Openda, who on our transfer recruitment special with Dan Butler, he pointed him out. I think he was playing in Belgium, wasn't he, before?
Yeah, I can't remember who for, but that was obviously a big signing. Well, he went to where's he moved to?
He went to Lens, didn't he?
Lens, that was it. And then now he's going to Leipzig.
Leipzig.
Yeah.
Within a season, did really well. So, to be fair, Dan Butler pulled it out the bag there, didn't
he?
He
got a couple of good chats on there. I asked him if he was doing another one this year, but he seemed pretty. It sounds unlikely anyway.
Dave, do you think we need a bigger focal point than someone like Mikautadze? For me, you'd have someone to play off. You'd have him playing off someone similar to like you'd have someone Kuna be playing off someone. Yeah,
I think as mad as it sounds, someone like Mikautadze and Kalajdzic, I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but something like that could work well. Almost an old school, almost big man, little man type strike partnership. You don't. I
forgot about Kalajdzic, because he's out of sight, out of mind, isn't he?
Yeah. But like something like that is a bit old school, but that could work. And I even suggested on one of the videos that we did this week, like Cunha, I'm surprised that we haven't seen him off the left a little bit more as well. I know obviously the club are trying to peddle that he's a number 9, and we can clearly see he's more of a sort of second striker or number 10. But I think there's a place for this sort of player in the team, definitely. Whether he's going to be the man that fires his 15, 20 goals, I'm not too sure, but definitely interesting profile anyway.
Yeah, with Mikautadze as well, if he's going to play that 4-4-2 next season, that he would be perfect to play off someone, just because he looked from what I've seen, and it is limited of what I've seen. He looks really good in those half spaces, comfortable on both left and right, and good in tight spaces. So that's the kind of player I think would fit that profile. But moving on to another player from France, Dave, Batista Mendy. Those jokes write itself. Scores a goal, Batista bomb, etc., etc. Wolves are interested in the Angers midfielder, according to L'Equipe. So Everton and Nottingham Forest are also said to be interested, and the French club are looking for around €6 million. Now, he has been a bit of a mainstay in the Angers side over the last couple of years, but has mostly been deployed as a combative midfielder who can mop up play effectively. David, are these the sort of kind of profiles that we should be going after? Do we need a destructive central midfielder?
I'm not sure. It sounds similar, by your description there. Probably a similar sort of profile to Lamina, I would say. He can play as a centre half as well, I think, Batista Mendy. But Wolves have had decent success with players from Angers. Obviously, Romain Saiss was one who sounded a similar sort of profile, could play as a defensive midfielder and a centre back. Obviously, Ryan Aït-Nouri, who, could you put him down as a success? I suppose so.
From a talent ID point of view,
Yeah, for sure. But I think the thing is with Batista Mendy, if you go for him, you try and get rid of that Ryan Nori clause as well, even if you up the fee slightly. But I think in one of the report from L'Equipe as well, they were saying that the English teams were even trying to lower that €6 million fee. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, they've been relegated to the second division of France. But there are talented players. I think, especially those defensive midfielders. There are very talented players in France. We've seen Boubacar Traore. He came from Metz originally. There's a number of players across the Premier League that have come from similar sort of profile of side. So, yeah, I'd be interested. I'm not going to sit here and say I've seen loads of him, but
always rated.
Yeah, but it'd be an interesting signing. Not someone that I think Wolves are desperate for at the moment, but we'll wait and see.
He's a big old boy, Dave, 6'3", absolute colossus. So I'm all for that, because I think we're quite a small side as it is. We could do with adding a bit more height into that, especially from we've done really well from defending from set pieces this season, probably down to Craig Dawson, but just to give us a few more options. I think
if you wanted to almost sit him and Lamina as your central midfield, and then you've literally got a front four, just do whatever you want, and we'll just sit here and just mop up for you. So, yeah, that'd be interesting from that point of view, anyway. But I think again, a player like this could be Wolves if he came in. Wolves almost being proactive, like we have seen and we've sort of suggested over the years. With teams signing players before other players are let go. I think Mendy could come in this year, use this year as almost a transition season. And then obviously next year possibly could be sort of him coming in ahead of Lamina or so on. Yeah. So, yeah, that's something that Wolves obviously still need to try to do and be proactive rather than reactive.
Moving on to the next rumour, Dave, it is Adama Traore. Now, he's still contracted by Wolves, but his deal expires on June 30th. Manager Julian Lopetegui has insisted that he wants to renew the Spaniard's deal. A couple of rumours kicking about for this one. So, Relevo in Spain have reported that Real Betis have made a contract offer to Traore, and he's their number one on their list. But also news coming from journalist Aaron Dominguez that Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia are reporting advanced negotiations with Adama Traore. What do we do with this one, Dave? I'd love to keep him. Is he going to go back to Spain where, in terms of sporting merit, the competition is greater? If you go to Saudi, and I know that obviously the league will improve, but I think in terms of there's some sporting intelligence agency had done a report on kind of like the top leagues, and Saudi Arabian league is still around like the 46th, 47th best league in the world, around like Scottish Premier League kind of, or Scottish Championship, but it's on a great standard. But what do you think is going to happen with this one?
I think that the league in terms of quality will definitely rise very, very quickly. I don't know. You would assume if the Saudi offer is on the table that it's going to be a lot more than what Wolves are offering at the moment. It's completely. I don't know. I think if he was to stay at Wolves, a deal would have been sorted out, thrashed out, and sorted already. There's a number of options there for Adama, for him personally as well. I think obviously Spain, I think, is probably one of his preferences to go back to. Betis, obviously a good side. They've got wingers that are aging at the moment, very experienced players, but nothing like the profile of Adama Traore. And then obviously the Saudi offer, it's just sort of the in thing at the moment. I'm sure every other footballer is going to be offered a deal out there. And I think for him, sort of culture-wise as well, it's sort of a country that would fit and work for him. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the Wolves and Adama relationship is probably over now. I'd be very, very surprised if he does sign a new deal. But yeah, it's still sort of very much up in the air in regards to where Adama's going to end up.
Yeah, it's. I'd like to keep him, but if you're competing against, you can probably pay as much as Betis, I'd imagine. But in terms of competing with Ali Tiadu, he's managed by former Wolves head coach Nuno Espirito Santo. He could be crossing balls into Karim Benzema, or playing 1-2s with N'Golo Kante, couldn't he? It's absolute madness, but it remains to be seen what happens with that one. I'd like to keep him, but his deal does expire on June 30th, so the clock is ticking. Moving on now, Dave, to the Final two rumours. Fabio Silva. I feel like this one is probably going to drag on throughout the summer. So, according to Express and Stars, Liam Keane, friend of the pod, teams in the top tiers of Spain, Italy, Germany, and Turkey are monitoring Fabio Silva. Ajax and PSV remain interested in Silva, but a loan move is most likely. However, a permanent move isn't ruled out of the question if Wolves receive an appropriate offer. David, remains to be seen again whether Fabio Silva wants to return to the club, doesn't it?
I know it's going to be a long summer. I think, like you said, I think he'll come back for the pre-season, and we'll see what's going on. But Wolves need to make a decision quite quickly on this. Do we want Fabio Silva to be our number 9? Do we want him to start the season? And I think if you can promise him a good run of games, I think he'll probably stick around. There was obviously a report yesterday as well from somebody in Portugal in regards to the teams that are actually interested in him, and it obviously marries up to those teams and countries there. So obviously Ajax and PSV, Besiktas, Real Betis are another team, Villarreal and Bayer Leverkusen as well. So it's a good standard of team there, really. So it's just completely up to PSV, and I think not PSV, Fabio Silva, and I think him and Lopetegui probably just need to have a frank conversation as soon as they're back at Compton and say, what do you want to do? And if you don't want to, again, Lopetegui needs to figure out if he wants to be here or not. Obviously, a very talented player. I think he was thrown in at the deep end massively, obviously, when Raul got injured. There's obviously a talented player there, but I think any striker at the moment, until we get more creativity around them, he's going to look crap in this Wolves team, full stop.
If he was to go permanently, how much do you think Wolves could get for him? Because they're not. I think from a optics point of view, they're not going to want to sell for anything less than 35 million, because then it's deemed as a failure.
Yeah, I think obviously, he's had a couple of loan spells. So I think I suggested this on the pod. They would have got a little bit back in loan fees and paid wages and stuff. But saying that, Anderlecht didn't pay a loan fee, did they? They just paid his wages in full, I think. PSV may have paid a little bit. I don't know. I think you got to get close to that value, and I can't see you getting that at the moment. It'd be a huge risk for another club to pay that sort of money for him at the minute. So I don't know. It was a huge risk to begin with, but Wolves need to get him in the squad and really test him out the start of this season.
Agreed, mate. Agreed. Dion Sanderson's the final one, mate. So Stoke City are interested in him, but also Birmingham City. Wolves valuing him around £2 million. Now, I've seen a lot of fans scoff at this. He's 23 years old now. Probably hasn't got a future within the first team at Wolves. I think that's a fair fee.
I think it's probably fair for all parties. I think you got the sort of budgets between Championship sides and Premier League sides are completely different. I think for Stoke, Birmingham, for them to be paying more than 3 or 4 million for a player is quite a big deal. So I think £2 million is obviously, I think, a fair deal. Dion, I think we said this on the sell loan keeps you. He's a good footballer. He will have a future in football, definitely. But I think with the way Wolves need to move on, we need to sell what we can at the moment. And I think, he will be one of those players. Again, it's probably just a waiting game with this one. Birmingham, I know, are going through a few things financially at the moment with new ownerships, and they'll get a bit of money coming in from the Jude Bellingham deal, I'd assume, as well. So, I think they'll probably be favourites. But, it'll be interesting. One of those three sides. Birmingham, obviously, he knows the club. Stoke's not a million miles away, and Sunderland, he's been there before as well. So I think all three would work well for him.
He seems to be a little bit of a home bird, though, doesn't he? I think he'd probably want to stay at either Birmingham or Stoke, wouldn't he? Probably more so Birmingham.
Yeah, you see him hanging around Wolverhampton quite a lot, to be fair. So I don't know. He's obviously had loan spells at QPR, Sunderland, but yeah, Birmingham. I think he's had 2 loan spells there, hasn't he now? So it's obviously a place that obviously enjoys his time there. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a permanent move.
Cool. That's all we've got time for this week, Dave. I've enjoyed that.
Yeah, brilliant. Enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, we'll be back hopefully. Well, next week. Depends on how many rumours come through. They seem to be really hotting up now, though, don't they, Dave? Seems to be quite a lot more coming through.
Yeah, it was a bit of a quieter day yesterday, but yeah, every day there's a new player either coming or leaving the club. So yeah, we'll wait and see. Hopefully by this time next week we're a bit closer to actually getting a deal complete. Hopefully a player in rather than out anyway.
Oh, I don't know about that, mate. Dave, where can people find you should they wish to follow you?
It's at Day as a Party on Twitter and Instagram.
I am M Cooper Wright and Matt Cooper Bites. We are talking Wolves across all socials. Let us know in the comments down below if you're listening on YouTube who you think, who you'd like to sign and what your thoughts are on the rumours. And if you have enjoyed the video, like it. If you're new here, please subscribe. And until next time, take care and enjoy the sun.